Mm-hmm.
and the links which Dhritiraj has sent me, I think, yeah, he's put it here also. Otherwise, I put it in that same GitHub repo. You remember I told you
Oh
I'll be
yeah,
needing
yeah.
that paper. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll check that out.
Yeah. So this paper. Basically, look at a time series analysis of synthetic aperture radar, and does obviously it does statistics to look at it. It has a score. So if you look at the if you look at the paper, the code as well, um, it does calculates that score, that score here, and I think that's the one it's mapped to it. So ultimately, what you get is and flood map for the particular date. And like for example, if you now we have to look up the best way to understand this is to
I have
is
one
to
basic question.
yes.
The basic question is that if I, once I open this paper and in the introduction itself, they are mentioning
Hmm.
that they are taking, I think they say the European Space Agency and Copernicus is what they are taking, right? So since
Yes.
so what we are basically getting is Sentinel-1 this thing images through the Google Earth
Hmm.
engine. Is that what it is?
Yes. Yeah. So what has happened in Google Earth Engine is that, so if you look at, so I can show you which satellite they have, which one they have used. So actually, I can show it here as well. So yeah, so they have used Copernicus Sentinel. I think the basic idea, once like how you get to know about the code and everything, is to get an idea about the satellite itself. So much of the code is basically about how the satellite is being used. So this is it. So that's the Sentinel-1 centric aperture radar, and and obviously it has polarization, so that's where you used, and these are the bands with each polarization, and obviously so that's a higher resolution than Landsat. It's a 10-meter resolution, and so if you look at these properties here, uh, much of
Dhiraj, you'll have to go slightly slow. I'm unable to make out. Just give me 1 second. Let me open up the same thing on my screen also.
yes,
Uh, Divyansh, can you also do that? But you
or
won't have
I
Earth
can
Engine.
I can yeah, I can
Yeah,
share this link
exactly.
without having to register on Google Earth Engine website. It's just a bit
That is
slow.
that's the problem, huh? Uh, okay. 1 second. At least let me open it up. Otherwise, so I put it in flood alerts. Okay. Uh,
I don't know why the service is unavailable.
and you shared it with me on. Okay, huh? It's here also, right? You just shared it. Perfect.
I've shared the code, and I'm just trying to open the uh, link again.
Yeah, I'm on the link. It says Omaha, Nebraska,
Yeah.
25th March 2019. Uh,
Yes.
Ben DeVries. I don't
Yeah.
know how to
Yeah.
pronounce his name. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. So basically, what is that? Would you like me to explain?
I'll just quickly go through this code. Okay, so it seems to be
Okay.
pretty simple. So firstly, they
Hmm.
said the first thing is define the baseline. So in the baseline, it is
Yes.
base start, which is the date of
Yes.
1st January, and 1st January 2019 is the base end. Then variable
Yes.
target. So target,
Yes.
what is target? So are they looking at one particular date over there? That is a target.
Yeah, so the target is basically after floods event. So you need to know when there was a heavy rainfall. So I think in 2019 it was, I think this was Harvey or not Harvey. Yeah, I think they have mentioned in the paper which typhoon it was. So which hurricane it was. So this date is just after 2 or 3 days after the hurricane is passed.
Okay, so that's okay. So then they come to Z score thresholds, and
Mm.
there is one. I don't know why, but I see exactly same thing on two lines of code over here, 19 and 20. It's minus 2.5 again, minus 2.5 ZVH underscore THD. Do you also see that? Do you have that on your screen?
Yeah.
No. Okay. No. Yeah. Of course. 19 and 20. The line is exactly the same, right?
Exactly.
Divyansh,
Yeah.
can you see that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but any which ways. So, whatever. Then historical open water probability threshold. So there is some variable POW
Yeah. So
threshold, which is
yeah, this is open water in the sense that historically, where there have been rivers or lakes in which crosses the city or around that polygon, and historical inundation probability is based on historical flooding events. What are those places been
so.
inundated?
So what we are basically saying is that historically, within this area which has got selected, the polygon which has got
Mm.
selected,
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
90% area has got water. Is that what you're saying?
Among the water surface, yes.
Amount of water surface is 90% of that polygon is water historically.
Yes.
Yeah. So come to think of it, I'm standing on the Brahmaputra bridge, and
Mm.
if that is the place which we are looking at, then obviously 100% around me is water only. So right. So maybe
Yeah,
in
exactly.
a layman terms, that's how I understand, right?
Mm.
Okay. So the next one says historical inundation probability threshold. Again, says the same thing.
And to be
Uh,
honest, I understand this is a very, in a way, it is more complicated than the other flood papers, which this is a very new one. So that's why I thought like we can apply. Um, but obviously, I'm sure these comes from local knowledge, the thresholds, which obviously it comes from local data sets. So obviously like we have to look at like what could be the
no, no.
probability of inflation threshold in Assam, in Guwahati, in that particular place.
Right. No, that is okay. I'm just trying to understand what exactly it is. So,
Yeah.
what is the ground truth value? We don't necessarily know right now, or neither are we
Mm-mm.
interested at now. So, just to
Mm.
understand what, fine. So that's okay. So then
Yeah,
the next he's importing some scripts. So then,
yeah, these are from his own scripts. He's importing some own scripts which has the
yeah,
Z score.
but
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out over here where exactly are these scripts. So because when
Yeah.
on the
No,
left side.
these I have to email them and ask for their repository or even for the paper. I need to go through that paper again if they have provided it.
No. The point is, this is a Google Earth Engine thing. It's uh, uh, so when I am logged in, again, that's another question that I had for you, which is a separate question. That I
Mm.
have a certain quota on Google Earth Engine, right? So
Yeah.
when you share something like this with me, and I've gone ahead and logged in, and I can see it right now with my own this thing login.
Mm.
So my quota
Mm.
is being used. So also, you remember you tagged me on some this thing on LinkedIn also. There's a very
Mm.
fancy map over there. So I went and clicked
Mm.
on that, right? So there also
Mm.
my quota must be used. I'm just
No,
thinking aloud.
no, no. The asset quota, the asset, that one is not about just clicking on a code and looking at. That is when you upload your own assets, for example, your shapefile or your own images. So your
Huh.
quota is about your asset which you upload, not just looking at the code.
Okay, so let's say, just as an example, that I don't know you and I don't work along with you on a project. We both have our separate quotas, but if you share something with me and I'm just looking at your script and maybe I'm just uploading your uh, maybe I'm just uploading whatever it is that you have done just to see that on my own system. So does
Yeah.
it not use? So it must be using my quota in some manner, right? Because ultimately, according to your script, it is pulling in something from the Earth engine. So it is pulling in maps or layers from the Earth engine, which I get to see.
No,
So
not
somehow,
as far as now. I don't think so that uses your quota, because your quota, as far as I know, is about uploading your assets only, and that's what the GB is all about. That's what they give you. Let me find that particular
yeah,
tab where
because
you can see that.
yeah, but see, I was going through their this thing. I was going through their official documentation, and they
Uh huh.
mentioned whatever it is that you're doing, because ultimately they are sharing so many. That's their tagline. They're sharing so many petabytes of
Yeah.
data which they're put through so many different satellites.
Yeah.
I can't keep on using this service. I don't upload anything. Let's say I don't upload anything at all of my own, right? So my own assets are not there, but I keep using whatever is already being given to me as a free user. So that has a
Hmm.
limitation, right? So the Sentinel hub, the the independent one, which is that that organization based out of Slovenia or wherever. Those
Hmm.
had a very simple dashboard where I could see that this much percentage I've used, so many calls I've made, and stuff like that. So that, see, for developing a technical application or maybe giving it out to somebody tomorrow, we need to understand these things. Divyansh, it is similar to what was happening with us in our Twitter, this thing, right? We were
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
limited and all. So
yeah.
whenever there's a public API which is available, where free data is given to the end user, understanding those rate limits and all is very important for us, because then what we'll do is we'll just pick up the script. Like I picked up this guy's script, I put it in a JavaScript file, I put it on my GitHub. So anytime we want to refer it, we can refer it there 1,000 times. But I will not come back to this the screen which I see right now, because here maybe my quota is getting used. So I'm just thinking aloud. I know it's not such a big deal, but then when we have many users who will come to it, so maybe, okay, whatever. So yeah, so going back to this guy's script, so it says import scripts, and then there are two required statements, and we are getting something from the local folders which are there, so local assets which the guy has gone and
Yeah, it's
stored on.
publicly available. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but I can't see them anywhere. So that's what I couldn't understand. But any which way, so we'll again try and figure that out later on. That's okay. So then next he comes to define collection filters. So he is filtering
Yeah.
basically, so that EE dot filter. So that's the method which is part of that class, probably EE or whatever. And
Yeah,
list
E is
contain.
like Earth Engine. It's like a
Yeah,
snippet which they have.
yeah. So yeah, that is okay. So so within Earth Engine there is a filter. Within that, he's got 2-3 methods over here. One is list contains, the other is equals, then there's bounds, and then there is date. So list
Mm.
contains is transmitter, receiver, polarization, then VV and VH. So
Yeah.
firstly, yeah. So maybe we'll Google this and see what this is.
This I can send you a simple PDF. It's just a polarized. I can send you. I can just screen share one quickly. Can I do that very quickly? I'll share you
Yeah,
what
why not?
we. So I'll show you very quickly what I can share this PDF as well. But it will give you basic of what's those, what are they in the code. But I'm just gonna show you what VV and VH. It's just a, yeah. So that's it. So it's a radar polarization. It's a parameter, and so what you're looking at there in the code is basically this.
Okay, so it's vertical transmit, horizontal receive, and vertical transmit, vertical receive.
Exactly. Yes.
VHPV.
Yes. So if you can see this image, I don't know if it's visible, but I'll zoom in again. Here.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I will share this PDF again, but I will share the entire YouTube or the website of NASA where I got this particular image. But basically, if you look at that in visually, that's the combination how it looks like.
I don't think I understand it right now, but yeah, that's okay. So we will have to probably understand this from you, because I haven't seen this. My QGIS, whatever basic knowledge I have, doesn't necessarily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
no, this goes slightly above that, because this is very new actually in terms of because the entire series of satellite was just launched, made publicly available in 2015, and so it goes very deep. So mainly what we are looking at, we work with this at these frequency ranges, and that's what is available right now. And so if you're looking at to map floods, for example, we use C band, for example, or even X band, and it works basically in these frequency ranges. So radar parameter basically are these three: so wavelength, polarization, and incidence angle. So wavelength concept, I'm sure you're familiar with the wavelength concept, and that it works on the basic of wavelength concept. The other factor is the penetration and uh, and polarization. But with polarization, there is one of the main thing is the incidence angle, so where it falls and how it reflect back. And so this will I will share this PDF with you all, and once you get this idea of that, these will be much clear about how and why these are used.
fine. So to an extent, that makes sense. So basically, what is happening is we are filtering through those
Yep.
two
So
lists.
yeah, we are filtering through four polarizations, and for out of four we take two,
Perfect, great. So the
and
next
then
one.
this is an instrument mode. Now this again, to understand what is IW, and then so instrument mode is how they capture the images. I think in this slide, this PPT, yeah, it's so the side looking, it's a side looking satellite. So IW is informametric wide SWAT. I need to look up the documentation again, but it's basically the way.
I think Dhritiraj got disconnected.
Yeah, he got disconnected. But tell me, Rohit, one thing. Like, are we gonna, deep dig into flood detection and all? Like, हमारा तो, we have some different objectives.
See, the one that he wants to do is flood. What we want to do is slightly different. So let's see. I don't know. So
I mean,
see,
have you?
as of now, what is happening is that the flood domain is quite different from what we had in mind, right? So it's the domain discussion that is happening right now, right? Today itself, before we close the call, I also want to understand from him uh, what is his final plan, or what is his
Exactly.
uh,
What
uh,
we
uh,
discussed earlier on the call, right? Like,
yeah, the system that he really wants to bring into the public domain. So what
yeah.
exactly will that system offer? Because let's say if somebody can go ahead and create such a detailed this thing of.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize when I got cut off.
No, that's okay. Dhritiraj, that's okay. Now, Divyansh had a very critical question, and let me ask you that question right now. Uh,
Hmm.
see, our
He
knowledge.
got disconnected.
Oh, that's okay. So he'll connect back. So you understand, Divyansh. So the flood domain is different from, say, something like the rooftops domain.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So those things are different.
So sorry again. I got cut off. Can you repeat your question, please?
Yeah, my question is very basic and very simple. So, and Divyansh also has that same question. Let's say that we go ahead and create this application that you want for the floods, and I
Hmm.
am the user. Let's say I am one of the users. So, what
Hmm.
exactly do I get to see on my screen, and what is it that the user wants? So, ultimately, to be able to understand and then
Hmm.
work backwards from there.
Okay. Fine. So what that application would look like is that you get first visually. So you can see, for example, monsoon of 2019. You select a particular date or a particular week, and then so there will be a filter of date. All right, so you filter that, and then there will be a map which shows you the inundation over that 1 week, how much area is flooded, and that's visually, right? So using this code you can using this, and this is or I have other as well. So my team has been developing others, and they're from NASA. They're free open source code as well, so the code is not a problem. So first you get a visual idea of flood, how much, where it is, but then the idea is to calculate the area, how much of that is inundated, and you can get the data out, of course. But also once the application is ready, what the idea is to overlay some of the layers. For example, if we have road network from OpenStreetMap, so what you can do, you can again do some query related, how much road is inundated after 1 week of rainfall, or if we have a population layer data set, and or a building footprint, we can estimate basically how much of residential area, what not area is inundated.
I get your
So,
point. I get your point. So it's something similar to the very basic stuff that I did in QGIS, and I'll just try and relate that so that I my understanding is a little bit more clear. Let's
mm,
say that I have a flood map which is there as one of the layers,
mm,
and then I put in something on the OpenStreet map. So I
mm.
basically overlay that so that I can understand that yes, this street got impacted or this area got
Yes,
impacted, which will
yes,
so it will be basically one raster layer and one vector layer or something like that, right?
yes, exactly,
Okay.
yes. And what happens
And
with this
whenever a person,
application? Sorry, you go ahead, please.
yeah, my yeah, and my other basic question now, whenever a person uses this, so you will let's say I am the one who's using it to understand what happened in the flood. I will have to log into my own Google Earth Engine account, and then I'll be able to use it.
No, like if we make through Google Earth Engine, there is. So I'll again quickly show you another example that you can actually. I will give you the code, like the link right now, and you can open it. And there are many uh, like apps like that. I will just show you. I just share one of them, which I created, and you can open it in your browser right now.
Okay,
Mm,
so it
sorry,
is
it's a
the
bit
same.
slow.
It is the
So
same.
no, so the basic answer is no, that you can. I'm not able to. It's bit the connection is so slow. But what happens with the Google Earth Engine web app is that you create a separate link which can be used by anyone without creating a Google account.
Okay, that's okay. So
Mm,
let's say me and Divyansh right now, we don't have a Google Earth Engine account, and you give us
mm,
this link, which is an external link. Fine. Once we use that external link, ultimately whose this thing, a login ID or something it is that we are using? Is it Dhritiraj or is it
No,
uh,
no. It creates a separate website altogether. So you're not using anyone's account. You just so it's. I can share some examples with you to understand how that thing
yeah,
actually works.
if you can share a link, then maybe
I
we'll
will
be able to
share a link.
understand.
I will share. Just give me 1 second. I'll share you one link which you
Okay,
can open right
that is one question. Another question which I had was that, let's say, when you say that the flood, this thing, along with the building footprint, right? So,
now. Yeah.
to what extent are we getting the data, in the sense, how what is the resolution of the image that we get?
So the
Can we
image is, yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, so can we actually see buildings, or is it that we are layering the OpenStreetMap? So are we seeing the buildings in the satellite image, or are we layering a OpenStreetMap layer? How does that work?
No, I think in my view, layering an OpenStreetMap would be better. And then what in my mind, what I had was to use a transparency option where you can increase or decrease the transparency, and by which you can actually see how much the buildings are like flooded or something like this. So for in order to understand that which I just said, if you go, because my internet is a bit slow, the best is the NASA sea level rise viewer. And what that does is basically it's
Divyansh,
Hmm.
another question is, now let's say,
hello, I'm so sorry, I don't know what's going on.
don't worry, Dhitraj, another
Yeah,
question. Now let's say the OpenStreetMap for one particular location in Guwahati is, say, 6 months old.
sorry.
Let's say the OpenStreetMap and for some
Yeah,
place in Guwahati is 6 months old. It is not
yeah,
updated with the latest this thing, buildings and all.
yeah,
And let's say there were
yes,
buildings which got constructed in the last 6 months. So then how will
yes.
we
Yeah, that is tricky. Yeah, for sure. I mean, for an archive, it will work. Definitely. For 2015, 2016, 2017, it will work. For looking at a very near real time data set, I think it's a good thing that you have raised. The another way which we can solve it is probably um, to overlay the RGB of a same Sentinel image for latest one, just to have an idea of what underground what the real a true color image composite of how it looks like. But for an archive, it will work. But for a near time resolution at that temporal resolution, maybe a true color composite of satellite image may work.
yeah, but will we get that? That is what my question is. Will we get that kind of data? Is
Yeah,
it possible?
yeah, like at least for at 10-meter resolution, a true color image using Sentinel is available.
Okay, and it is available through Google Earth only, or are we then going to Sentinel Hub or something like that?
In Google Earth Engine as well. Yeah, like it's available like in Google Earth Engine also. Even for Sentinel Hub, we can go, but it's also available in Google Earth Engine.
Okay, perfectly fine, perfectly fine. So that makes sense.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
let's say that we were to start coding on this now.
Mm.
Past 1 week, my this thing is I'm excited to start coding on it real fast. Okay, and that's
Mm.
not unfortunately happening. Because see, the paper I could not understand much. From whatever I could understand, I kept on googling. They're talking about I think they're talking about harmonic modeling and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so so I'm still going through the Google Earth Engine documentation. to understand as to they have got examples. So I tried to go through some of those examples and understand it, but still my understanding of their framework is still very rudimentary. So what exactly do you want us to do as the first step? Uh, do you want more time to sketch it, or have you already done it? What is the first step that is coming to your mind now?
No, I need little bit more time to sketch in terms of how the application would look like. But in order to start calculating, like looking at the thing, the first step is to actually, in order to test, I need to find out those particular flooding events to really test the code in areas where we know that there has been flood, and how accurately the code is able to extract it. So that will be the first step really, and
Can
there are
you
many.
can you
Sorry.
do one thing? Can you send us more links then, so that we also simultaneously can keep on reading this and understand how
Okay,
those.
I will send you two very key PDF files which I did a course on flood mapping using Sentinel-1, and that will give you a very good idea of. I will actually give you a PDF on flood mapping using the same Sentinel-1 satellite, and that is the PDF and the video link where the webinar is uploaded on YouTube as well.
Okay, makes sense. Perfect. Yeah.
So the next step really is to first find out when there was this big event, flooding event, and then use the same code, change the geometry, take it to that place where we want to know, and change the date, and just run it, and to see what, with the same thresholds which has been used for US, what will it show. And then only we can start looking at what kind of thresholds we need to do, and how work it out.
Okay. Through some of the guys who are part of the group, there is a person by the name of Rohan Mathur. Okay.
Mm.
Through him, I did not actually connect with those students, but I saw some students who have done some work on the Mumbai slums. Okay.
Okay.
That the slum area was this much in at some point in time, I think 2015 or something. Then 2019, it has grown and it has become this much. So they are using
Mm.
something called mask, this thing, convolution neural networks. So what
Okay.
they are creating masks of a certain area, and then they are doing all that. Now, my basic understanding, and this is what I want to understand. Let's say that you have say a 2 months period in some year, let's say year 2012, when a certain flood happened in Assam, and on that year when the flood happened, for that 6 months period, initially there will be just the river, then you have more water, and then you have entire maybe a basin totally flooded with this thing, right? So if that is the situation, uh, from a conceptual point of view, not from the point of view of code and all that, but from a conceptual point of view, uh, we just want to understand the difference to begin with, right? As to how much area got flooded and how much did not, initially was not there as flooded. Conceptually,
Yeah.
that is what we want to understand.
Yes. So basically, like for example, like the most recent one which hit Kolkata and West Bengal. What I was looking at, I took a composite of month of February to look at the normal situation where it's less, not more rainfall, like a normal 1 week composite, and then I took a composite of 2 days just after the floods, after typhoon, and you see a stark difference in surface water because there are more areas inundated, and that is reflected quite nicely on the image. And not only that, it's also the disturbance in the urban texture. So you will see that there are places being urban footprint is disturbed. Their rivers have changed the course a little bit. Another change you will see in the sense that in Sundarbans area, if you do a vegetation index, for example, you see that before the typhoon, it was much greener, but after that, it's less green because there are much of the trees are inundated. Or the wetland or the mangrove forest is much of it is inundated, so that is reflected as water. So these are the kind of spatial interpretation which can be done based on where it's happening. So if it's Assam, if you're looking at Upper Assam, you look at Kaziranga National Forest and its wetland, and you will see those places after the flood very much inundated, or you will see the river change its course quite rapidly, quite significantly. You see a significant change in Brahmaputra, especially in that portion in terms of course, river course will change very significantly.
Okay. Now, let's another this thing basic question. Now, let's say um, I, as a student, maybe as a researcher, I belong to maybe Meghalaya, just as an example. Okay, or I'm studying in a university in Meghalaya. I come to your website. I see, oh wow, wonderful! These guys are offering this thing for free. I don't have to create a login. I don't have to do anything, and I can see the Brahmaputra area, northern this thing, Kaziranga, and all that. And suddenly, I feel like, for whatever reason, I feel like that let me look at some forest near my house in Shillong or somewhere. Okay. Now, can I use the same application to go to maybe scroll down to Shillong and have a look at the forest area over there, or look at something over there? Is that a possibility?
Now, in terms of that, so when we look at just floods, what we highlight is surface water. So that layer will be on. So you will see surface water change. Now, in order to do so, we just have to simply add the layer of deforestation or forest change or something. But obviously, that's Google API. I'm sorry, I'm not able to share the screen, or it's the internet is not good. Otherwise, I would have showed you. But Google API will have a simple Google base map or something which will, or a satellite which can show forest. But in order to optically, or in order to remotely sense images, if you want to see, we need to add another layer for that. So there will be like a flood map, or you select a surface spot, deforestation, forest map, or urban map, or so forth, like that. So we have to add those links if we want.
Right. It's like from my perspective of the QGIS, it is like adding different layers. Whether it is
Yes,
vector or raster or whatever. And
exactly.
yeah,
It's adding, yes,
right.
yes.
So again, let's. I'm just thinking through. So let's
I just,
presume.
I'm sorry. Just very quickly, I just presented something for my PhD where I created a web map using Google Earth Engine, and it's just in one slide I will show you because I have a video as well showing how the whole thing works. Oh, maybe I can just play the video. Okay, I'll share it the screen.
Yeah, if you
Just
no, you can always share the link with us in case you can't share your screen right now. It's okay. We'll see the this thing and we'll come back to you with questions. There is no big hurry. You don't have to,
But can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Yeah, so I'll tell you. So this is how the Earth Engine app looks like, right? So this is a simple app, and it says Earth Engine apps experimental. And so what this is how it looks like. It becomes an independent website basically, and so it comes like this where it will obviously have a default search bar and all the default tools like polygon, point, and line. But what I added was a buffer. For example, you can select a buffer, and then you define the year. And what for my research I was doing at looking at the land cover over reclaimed land. So that's what it's basically doing. And then you extract for the buffer to work, you need a point, right? So you need a lat long. So you extract that by clicking on the map, and then you submit, and you click submit. And what it does now, so it gives you 4 panels. One is showing the built up, another is showing surface water, this is showing vegetation, and this one is the last one is false color composite. And so what you're getting is that these are all the reclaimed land, official reclamation in Shanghai. And what chart you're getting is a mean monthly average of each of these index. So this is a built-up index, that's a surface water index, and that's a vegetation index for a particular point which you have clicked. So you imagine this as a flood. Obviously, the interface might be different based on what we want to show, but this is something I wanted to show for my work. And then you can go along again to do further is that you can change the year, and you click submit, and then what you get? You get a different image. Obviously, it will a different year, and then you can explore different cities because I had added different cities. This is Macau, and then you can export the chart, and then you can download this and then use it as in your research for your statistical work. So that's how the basic app would look like, and that's how Earth Engine app looks like, in general. And I will share more apps with you, just to have a look and just to have an idea of how they look like.
Dhritiraj, again, see, what I'm trying to understand is you are the person who created that app. It is your app. Okay.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
added all these different functionalities, and while you are showing it to us, or while you showed it for your PhD, it's your app. You can do whatever with it, fine. But when it will be a public facing thing, do I, as somebody who's just a end user, do I get all this flexibility to change these things and all that, or do I need to request Dhritiraj that Dhritiraj, I want to see for year 2000, or I want to see for year
No.
1995?
No. You can change. These are user end. So those app are basically for you to use it, for anyone to change the year, anyone to change the buffer, any cities you want to do. So that's a complete application which I've built. So and it's for end users.
Great. So now I understand. Now I understand. Now it is
So
clear.
so what I have just showed you is very simple, like a Sentinel Hub functionality, basically, where you can select your images, where you can change the date, and so on.
And now I get it. So that's okay. So that's great. Perfect. So now I come to my another question, the leading question. Let's say that you already have all of this. You already made this app, right? Your app is ready for use. If you share the link with me and Divyansh, we can use it right now and do whatever with it, what is required, right? So what else do you want to do in this? What is the what is the development team's role? Let's say we guys know zero about GIS. We guys don't even know what GIS is, right? So you approached us that, guys, help me out. What exactly is the help then that you require from us? I'm unable to understand because this thing is already done.
Yeah, right. So the one which I showed you is basically for what I did for my study, right? But for the flood one, it will be like a completely different interface, and there, as you said, there will be more layers, and I'm not sure in terms of developing how to add those layers. So I am right now. What you saw was 4 different indexes into one layer. But for example, if someone wants to see, as you mentioned, like forests in Himalayas or Shillong, that app cannot work. So that is basically just for the coast and all those 8 cities and nothing else. Now, in order to make a flood map, in order to add more layers and switch on and switch off those layers, those skills I don't have how to add those different layers into. I can create one, and then I don't know how to add more layers to it. So I
No,
want to
but
add.
then I agree. So what you're saying is okay. I understand that, but then that is a Google Earth Engine skill, right? So it's not. Or you want something to be done besides Google Earth Engine is what I want to understand.
So because what the reason I said Google Earth Engine, because it's something I'm familiar with. But if you see potential that we can export those data set and bring into local server and build our own thing, I'm really happy to do that as well, because that's where we can maximize a lot of things. Because in our engine, obviously things are very limited, because this app, there are obviously features which you can add is very limited. But I
Okay,
don't
fine.
know what
I,
limited.
I have understood. Divyansh, you are along with us. You understood the conversation till here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now the point is, now let's say that you want to develop something else altogether. So that is possible. That can be done.
Yeah.
We can develop absolutely anything. Okay. Let me be very clear about that. That's not the issue. The point is,
Mm.
where does the data come from? So does the data come as in once you take out data out of Google Earth Engine and you put it on your own server and you just keep it over there, or your application keeps on talking to Google Earth Engine again and again whenever a request is done. So what is that scenario?
Yeah, that I still need to clarify, because I am like I've never built something which is external and still linked to Earth Engine. Um,
So what I feel,
Oh,
sorry to
yeah,
interrupt.
Divyansh, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think this is what should happen. Google Earth Engine must have a a API that they have built, and from that, we can just authenticate the API and get the data using all the parameters,
yes,
whatever we
I am
want.
just,
So
yeah,
I'm pretty
Devraj,
sure Google.
I'm going to share this particular link, and everyone, we can
Yeah,
open this link. So this was built by um, yeah, you can open this one. So this is built by Joint Research Center of European Space Agency, and what
hmm,
it does, it's mapping a global surface water data set over surface water over 35 years, and you can see what has changed and everything. So this is based on Google Earth Engine. So if you look at it, please go to the section Start Exploring, and then you go to Explore. Let me just send you this one. Sorry, I shared the send. Kindly open the second code, because that's the application.
yeah, one sec.
So this is completely talking with our engine server all the time. So it's taking the data set out from there all the time. So in order to understand what it does, you can go to arrow C, which is in,
I again come back to my basic question. To what extent is this data publicly available? Who's the one who's logged in into this account right now? Is it a commercial account? It's an individual account?
no, it's an open source. So there is no logged in. So this is completely freely accessible, and so what they have done
No, no.
is that they have
Dhritiraj,
calculated.
it is Dhritiraj. I'm sorry to stop you again. I'm extremely sorry.
Yeah,
But when this is coming through Google Earth Engine, it's on the bottom right. It says it is coming through Google Earth Engine. You are also aware of that, and
yeah.
it is showing the entire world. I might end up, looking at whatever for whatever extent and duration. Uh, who's exactly paying for this service? This kind of service cannot be free.
It is at the moment free.
No, it is not possible, Dhitraj. That is my question. It is not possible.
I mean, at the moment is we don't.
On
I'm because we are using, because I have used this entire data set for my PhD, and I have now downloaded the entire data set from this particular website, and currently it's absolutely free from the European Space Agency.
I don't. Okay, okay. I'm just trying something. Okay, I'm zooming in into the uh, zooming in into the area where the Brahmaputra is crossing into Bangladesh, Meghalaya border and Assam
Mm-hmm.
border. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
I've reached Dhubri and Kurigram, and
Mm-hmm.
okay, and I'm
Just
zooming in
click
further.
wherever you are. Just click on the map where you see a water surface water. Just click on the map.
Uh, uh, I'm doing it. Okay, fine. So I clicked on the map. Right. So it
You will
shows me
see a,
loading
yeah.
temporal files profiles.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
it's showing me monthly water recurrence and valid observations, water recurrence, and all that. Now, my
Exactly.
point is, I'm doing this right now. Divyansh is also doing this. You're also doing this, and suddenly there are 1,000 people who are doing this. Uh,
Hmm.
I don't know. I still can't believe that Google is giving this out for free.
It's completely free. Because I'm saying why it's free. I'm saying why
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
free. It's free because because the complete collection, the calculation is done from Landsat, which is a completely freely available data set. And what Google have done. They have uploaded on their cloud, and so right now it's completely freely available. To be honest, it is free. So you look at the European Space Agency website, and you look at data and about probably, and I think it's clearly mentioned about their data and even the paper as well. So it says our data are free and open, and you can download the entire data set from their website. So this is completely free. You're not logged
Okay,
in, or you're nothing.
fine, fine. So I get your point. So okay, let me say that it's probably the European, space agency or somebody who's paying for it or whatever it is. So it doesn't matter. When we are trying to do this, are we going to Landsat or are we going through Google Earth Engine to Landsat? How are we doing this?
No, what we are doing is, so Google Earth Engine catalog not only has Landsat, but it also have other satellites like Sentinel. So it has used Sentinel, the one which I've shared you, which
Hmm.
it uses Sentinel, and which is a 10-meter resolution. So it's much higher resolution. So we will use Sentinel images to map floods, and
Okay.
so
So that will be Sentinel 2, I presume, because that's the one they say is the better one or whatever.
I have to check. I think it's Sentinel-1, which is a synthetic aperture radar, and radar is much more better in distinguishing between land and water and enhancing the water backscattering. So
Okay,
you are
okay,
able to identify water services more effectively.
fine. And now within this, leaving aside the OpenStreetMap, now over here, if I want to see the rooftops, what do I do? How do I do that?
Do you want when we overlay data layers? Is it?
No, no, right now on this. Okay, this is just water. This thing, so it will not show me
No, no.
rooftops, right?
This is just for surface water data set, nothing else.
Okay, okay, makes sense, makes sense. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, Divyansh, what questions you have now?
So like these, there are tons of apps being built and then published online, and some of them they are with Google, so it says like experimental Google app, but then you can take it out from there and then have like your own separate website. The same one I showed in my first presentation about the global forest map.
Right. I think Divyansh logged out. That's okay. I get that, Dhritiraj. So yeah, so I have understood this. Uh, Now, what is the next step? What do you want help with? What is it that you want to do? Or what is the next actionable? So let's decide on that, and then let's maybe get back together 1 or 2 days from now.
Okay, so I think the first thing is I right now I do not have the time, but if someone can, like, we need a database first of flood archives. I think I have a website where we can get that, and in India, it's from 2016. So we cannot go back beyond 2016 because Sentinel, if you're looking at a higher resolution, um, we have 2016. But again, it's up to us. If you are trying to look at a 30-meter resolution of floods, we can go back to 1984. So that's something to decide whether to do with Landsat with 30-meter or 10.
Sorry, I didn't get the 1984 part. You said that is the slightly lesser resolution.
Yeah, for 30-meter resolution, and that goes back to 1984.
Yeah, so see, if both the data sets are freely available, are
Yes.
they also freely available for commercial use? Because this will, what we will
No,
be doing, it will come under commercial use, right?
no, I don't think so. Are we? It won't be in. I'm not. So, um, I don't think so. Our thing would be commercial because aren't we doing this like the open source way, to
No, no.
make it open source website?
See, the point is, open source is something different. When you open source it, your code is open source. Okay, that is okay. So let's say tomorrow students who are sitting in some Canadian university or in some US university or in New Zealand or somewhere, they want to make the same application. They just use our code and they make the same application. That is what open source means. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. But let's say Divyansh is, let me take an example. Divyansh or Aman or Rashri or anybody for that matter, let's say they are not developers. Let's say they are just people who are working for some company somewhere, which has got a GIS related business. Okay, you get my
Yeah.
point. So they
Yeah.
are basically geographers, they are geospatial analysts, or they are, one of these category of people who are not necessarily developers, and they want to use our data set commercially. So how will we say that they are not using it commercially? We don't have any kind of governance on that, right? You are publicly opening it up for everybody to use. You get my point?
Yes, I get that point. So it's similar if someone is using the European Space Agency website for free, for non-commercial or commercial use. I'm not sure to how to answer that question. I'm not sure how to address because so
Yeah,
far.
yeah. No, see, because I'll tell you, I went through Google Earth's this thing, very, very clearly. So they have very clearly mentioned that you can use our data, but only for academic or non-commercial use, right? And
Yes, yes.
I also saw in many places people have open sourced the code, but those guys
Mm.
have very clearly said the data set is not available because Google does not allow that. So what I have made, I can show you my end result. I can show you my end result, like in that slum, this thing, okay, that slum growth prediction in Mumbai thing. And those guys also have a paper. They've also have released a paper. Okay, I can share that with you. There also they have very clearly mentioned that yes, we have done this analysis, and our prediction is that the sum will grow in this manner in this year, but we cannot share the data set with you because we have taken it from Google Earth Engine, and Google Earth Engine does not allow that. So let's say that we understand that. Okay, so that restriction remains on me and you, so to say. Fine. But
Mm.
when we release
Mm.
as an application where there is no login required, there is nothing required, then we can't guarantee who's coming to our website and seeing what and what he's using it for. You get my point?
Yes, 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 yes.
So then we will end up, not using the Google license properly. So then we are getting into a wrong situation.
Okay,
That
okay. I
that is
understand.
one thing. That is one thing. Second thing is that whether it is Sentinel or whether it is Landsat or whether it is that Modi's or whatever is there, or whether it is any one of these, if we directly are taking data from there, we don't take it through Google Earth Engine. Then do
Mm.
we have commercial use or not? That I will have to check. I have not been able to check. Maybe you are aware. I am not aware.
Because those are again the same thing. It's again academic use, and for commercial use, you have to take license for it.
Yeah. So again, so see, that
So
is
I'm
one.
not. Yeah, because it's tricky question because even for global surface water data set, which I've just shared the link with you, I don't know how they manage this thing because they say it's our data is free and open, and you can I have downloaded it, but it's interesting that many and anyone can download it and use for commercial use, but yeah, I don't know how they monitor that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So if they catch hold of somebody, then they'll immediately say that this you are using it for commercial use. You cannot be doing that, right? That is one thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, and that is exactly the point with the other application also, the one which you the telecom one, right? The
yeah,
telecom one
yeah,
also the same challenge.
yeah,
when you say that, Rohit, that will be done commercially. So what I understand is that you will pay me money or pay somebody else in the team money, or maybe somebody else in the world money to basically code that for you, right? So that is the commercial part of it. But
Yeah.
the data, how do we get the data? We will not get the data for you. You will have to give us the data. So how will you get the data? Will you get it from Google Earth Engine? If you get it from Google Earth Engine, again you are on the same with the same bottleneck, so to say, right? And if
Yeah.
telecom companies are doing it in-house, let's say a telecom company like Ericsson or Airtel or Jio or Huawei or whoever in the world does it in-house, then they may pay the satellite organization for that data. You get my
Yeah,
point?
no, it's a completely new thing which you have picked up, because I've never addressed or dealt with this situation before. It's a very
Yeah,
interesting thing.
yeah.
I have to
So
really. I know Ujjwal Gandhi. I've interacted with him very closely. So he used to work with Earth Engine team. So what I can do is write him an email with these concerns, and let's see what he says about this and how the usage will work.
yeah, Ujjwal Gandhi, I know. So even before you mentioned, I've seen
Mm.
that he's doing some,
Training.
training classes and all. He's got a batch of trainees, and he's got some
Yeah,
YouTube videos and things like that.
yeah, yeah,
He's
yeah.
also got his own blog. He's quite famous in the not only in
QGIS.
the in the QGIS. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm aware. I'm
So
aware.
so I think because you can ask you, because I'm not sure about this, because so far I've just used it for research and build apps, and then just give it to educational institutions and my professors to use them. So yeah, really, I'm not sure, because anyone can use my app and use it commercially, and yeah. So I'm not sure how it works. Really, it's a good question. Very very good.
And that is what I thought, because my mind immediately worked, because I used to know some guys, like I told you, my childhood friends, they own some, these pineapple farms in Shillong.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mountains have a lot of pineapple growth. So if they want to
Yeah.
assess what is the forest, this thing or whatever, let's just say it comes to
Yeah.
their mind, and there is
Yeah.
an application which is there, so they can use it, right?
Yeah.
With a little bit of, yeah. Similarly, anybody in India can use it. Anybody globally can use it. So
Yeah.
your data usage will go up very very high. So if it will
Mm.
go very high, then obviously somebody at Google will notice that why this is happening. So either you'll have to end up paying them, or somebody has to pay them, right? So ultimately,
Mm.
so then you have to have a setup wherein, let's say I use your application, you charge me
Mm.
maybe $1 for an hour, or maybe you
Yeah.
charge me $1 for maybe this much of usage. You take money
Yeah.
from me and you give it to Google, right? That
Yeah.
is doable. I'm sure many people do that.
Yeah. 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 No, it's interesting point. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I've
that's the business model basically. So you have to think about that, right?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Because I have not thought about it really, because I've been just looking at that as just an academic point of view. I've not come across. I've not. Yeah. It's an interesting point to look at. I need to
Perfect. So
think more about it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So we've been on the call for now almost around 1 hour plus. So let's look into these things. We'll talk separately. We'll talk on WhatsApp
Yeah.
and otherwise, and then let's
Yeah.
get back to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. No, that's a good, interesting
Perfect.
point. Even I will look up about this and ask people around and think it. Yeah.
Perfect, Dhritiraj. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot
Yeah.
for your time today.
Thank you very much. I will also what I will do is, for basic, I will email you certain PDF on flood mapping, and as well a few other app which are freely available. It's very interesting you pointed out that, because there is a global forest laws, there is a global like NDVI, like vegetation mapping thing, and you're right. For example, a vineyard in South Africa can use that vegetation thing to get their soil moisture or anything about their vineyard, and have good money out of it based on remote sense data set. So it's very interesting thing you pointed out. So I will check it out for sure and get back to you.
Yeah, because somebody has to be paying, because if I don't log in and if you
Yeah.
can't track my login and you can't track my usage, then you end up
Yeah.
paying for it. Why don't you pay for it? Ultimately, if somebody is
Yeah.
using it, let them pay for it, right? So you provide a service for which somebody pays, which is absolutely okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. Right. So yeah, I have to look up. Definitely, I will think about it. But meanwhile, in terms of like application building and everything, I will send you some few materials.
Yeah, see, those things we can start off. There is no issue in
Yeah.
that. Ultimately, see, that's what you want to do, right? We
Yeah.
also want to
Because
code it.
I've
Yeah.
not thought about the whole commercial and people using it for any other application. Yeah.
We can keep on thinking parallelly. That's a parallel thing that goes on, the business part of it or whatever. But on the
Mm-mm.
technical side of it, we can immediately start. I don't see an issue with that, right? So
Yeah.
let's not
Yeah.
ponder too much on that. Otherwise, see, most of the guys, they are not necessarily bothered about the commercial part of it and all that, right? You saw some,
Yeah.
some of them who linked up, they've gone ahead, they've gone linked up with you on LinkedIn also. They are liking each and every post you make over there. They are trying to be friends with you. They want to start coding immediately. Everybody is quite
Yeah.
excited about it.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
start off. That's not the issue.
Okay. Okay.
Perfect. Great.
Yeah. All right.
Good night
I
then.
will get back to you on this.
Yeah. Good night.
Okay.
Bye.
Good night. Good night.